I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Living United with Nashua Business. This TV show is really all about business, the local business community, and how we have organizations that give back to the community in significant ways, and just to give you a sense for who's out there and what they're doing. So today I'm very excited to have with me two friends who are related to taxes and bookkeeping. That's going to be the subject today. I don't know about you guys. I'm excited. I think this is a great subject. And I think it's really pretty terrific opportunity for us to dig a little bit deeper. So I have Cheryl Tachi. Cheryl is Truth in Advertising, the bookkeeper of record for United Way. Does a fabulous job for us. Her and her crew at Granite Bookkeeping. And then we have Steve Mandra. Steve and his colleague Ron are the organizers, leaders of a group of volunteers locally who actually do tax preparation for primarily low-income people in the community. So we appreciate you both coming in today to talk about this. I want to start with you, Cheryl, if that's okay.
Okay.
Maybe tell me a little bit about your business. What do you do at Granite Bookkeeping?
We do, obviously, bookkeeping for businesses. We don't do personal. I do have a couple clients I do personal for, but it's not what we really do.
Yeah.
They're just people I know that we've helped out.
People who you know who have like a
beg
box
me
of
to help
receipts.
them.
Yes,
Yeah, but we
gotcha.
primarily work on businesses. I also do CFO services as well. I have a team of 7 that work for me, and we pride ourselves on trying to be communicative, quick to respond, and quick to get our things accurately completed.
Well, you do respond quickly, and you guys are very accurate, and you want that in a bookkeeper, right? You probably see people when they start with you in a whole heap of trouble, I bet. Is that people come to you with a big mess and you clean it up?
Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes they do, but we're like the Planet Fitness of books. We have no judgment zone. I don't judge. So
Lunk alert.
Yeah, if you're having trouble getting your books done, and a lot of times it's because people feel like if they just ignore it, it'll go away. And those are the things that tend to come to me. I have clients, some of them that haven't filed their books for 5-6 years, done any books for their business. And I go in, I make them feel comfortable, no judgment, let's get this done. And we get it done quickly for them. And they feel like they just are, And then I have clients that literally, like United Way, is books are impeccable. And not just because of what we do, there's just a team of people that constantly are helping with it. And I have clients like that, not just United Way, that do like stay on top of their books. And they appreciate the oversight and making sure that things are done correctly. And I'm lucky enough to, actually I haven't even told you this yet, that I'm going to be bringing a CPA on part-time to oversee
wow, that's amazing.
all of our books and do oversight at the end of every month on all of our clients and make sure everything is tightened up before it goes out to the client.
Well, does that mean you'll be able to start doing tax prep as well?
I personally won't be doing tax prep, no, but I will refer to him, the gentleman that I'm bringing on.
Fantastic. That's really terrific. Yeah, you guys have been great. Breath of fresh air for us, really responsive, accurate. I'm sure you don't do that just because we know each other and we're friends. You do that because that's how you run your business.
I do. I have to look in the mirror every day, and I want somebody, I like to treat people the way I want to be treated. So I would want somebody to do that for me, so I do it for other people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And Steve, so you're involved with the Volunteer Income Tax Preparation Program, right? VITA.
VITA.
And but you weren't always involved with VITA. This is a retirement hustle for you, right?
Yes, it is.
What did you do prior?
My career?
Yeah.
I was in law enforcement for 20 years.
Oh, no kidding.
And then I went into the private sector for 20 more.
Okay, so I kind of always figured all of our volunteer income tax prep people were like tax people before becoming volunteer tax people.
No, actually, I started out with AARP Tax Aid.
Oh, okay.
And I was there for my first year.
Yeah.
And the woman that was responsible for what they called the district, which was Merrimack, Milford, Nashua, Hudson, and a couple of others like Milford, she needed someone to take over that role. And she turned to me and said, "It's yours." And she walked away. And I said, "I don't know what to do." And she said, "You'll learn." And she was right. We did. I did learn. I was with them for 8 years, I believe.
Okay.
And then we decided that we wanted to move away from tax aid and go to VITA. because
Okay.
VITA's clientele are, first of all, VITA is a program that's an IRS initiative, and it's designed to help individuals. The individuals that we target are, first of all, people that are low to moderate income
Right.
families or taxpayers, the senior citizens, disabled, and those who perhaps aren't proficient in speaking English. So those are the clients we deal with, okay? And we have an income limit.
Yep.
It's $70,000 or less, and we'll take you in, and it's free. It's free tax preparation for them. And tax season can be somewhat overwhelming for a lot of people, so they look for, if not someone to do their return, they look for someone to answer the questions about how to do their return, and we provide both services. So.
Last year, you guys, there were about 32, 33 volunteers in the program, is that right?
Yeah, 32.
And last year, I always think in round numbers because it makes it easier for me to talk about
Sure.
you, but you prepared over 1,000 tax returns last
we
year, and that equated to over $1 million
refunds.
in cash back into low-income people's pockets in our community.
That's true. We've for the last few years we've had over 1,000 or around 1,995 at one point. But all the income is usually $1 million or greater that we see, and that income is refunds to taxpayers.
Yeah.
And it's something that we love to see. I mean, that's what the program's designed to do. It's designed to make sure that individuals get the maximum refund they're entitled to. And that's part of the training that we receive. Our volunteers are all IRS certified. They have to undergo extensive online and in-person training. And after they complete that training, they have to take 3 certification tests and pass all 3 of them in order to be a volunteer. Sometimes they don't quite make it. Those people usually become what we call facilitators or greeters. They help the people when they come in, make sure
Intake and coordination,
yeah,
scheduling.
intake and interview actually is what the IRS calls it. Yeah, and they'll handle that role, and next year they'll come back and take the test again, and they'll pass it hopefully, and they'll become preparers.
Well, I can tell you there are a lot of things which I plan to do in retirement. That's not one of them.
Yeah, no, I hear that from a lot of people. But
But it does actually beg an interesting question. How do you get your volunteers? Because it's it's easy for me to get volunteers. We were talking before the show about an upcoming day of caring, which involves reading to little kids, going in for an hour into a classroom. It's adorable, it's easy, it's cute, it only takes an hour. That is not what you guys do. Is it? It must be very challenging for you to get volunteers for this work.
It is. We do manage to bring in some, and the United Way has helped us this year, especially. We've gotten 10 new volunteers that the United Way located for us and and provided for us. Prior to that, we might get 1 or 2 new ones, and there were quite a few years where we got nobody.
Yeah.
Most of my volunteers have been with me from the beginning, so they have, like me, they have 16 years of volunteer service, and they keep coming back every year.
Yeah.
But now we're beginning to age out.
Yeah, well, that's natural, right? People do things for a long time. And they do age out. So I appreciate you sharing that overview. You do this almost all in person, right? And it's in several locations around the community.
Yeah, well, VITA has a lot of locations, but our focus,
you guys specifically.
Our focus is Nashua. The 2 sites we have in Nashua, the United Way, which you host. You're the sponsor for that site. The Nashua Senior Center. And Margot is the woman that's there is responsible for that. We have the Hudson Senior Center, and we have the Hudson Library. So those are the 4 sites that I'm responsible for in partnership with Ron.
Right.
We never see at these sessions, by the way.
That's fun. Yeah, so it's 4 locations. How do people make appointments? How do they get in?
There's a variety of ways. 211,
Okay.
actually the state offers 211 service. They can call 211 and make an appointment for any of the 4 sites. I'm sorry, for any of the 2 sites. The 2 sites in Hudson, you call the Hudson Library directly, or you call the Hudson Senior Center directly. But for the United Way and National Senior Center, you call 211.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just going to say we should also recognize that the IRS itself not only provides training, but also it provides some financial support for the program. which I think we really appreciate. That comes in through by way of Granite United Way.
Yes.
And we are very grateful for that. But also, I feel like it's important to give Citizens Bank a big shout out. They've been
Very helpful.
big partners with us in helping to make this work happen in our community. Financially, they support the program. It's all volunteers, but it's also not free to run. So
That's correct. That's correct. I mean, we need supplies. We have a lot of equipment that we have to buy.
Yep.
For periods of time, we provided it ourselves. We footed it, the cost for it, and now we
I'm
have.
glad to think that we're a little bit beyond the baling wire and duct tape version of VITA at this point.
That's true nowadays,
is
but that's
good.
because of, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
the people that have come up and
They've
stepped
really
up
stepped
and
up.
said it. Yeah, they've actually made it a much more organized and
You need the tools to do your job.
You do.
I mean,
You do.
volunteer
Absolutely.
or not. So we talked about the challenge of getting volunteers. Now that, Cheryl, I wanted to talk with you about a little bit as well. We talked about you have a CPA coming on board, but what about the challenges that you face in terms of staffing and workforce in your industry and within your business? Because this is a
Yeah.
tough space, right?
It is a tough space, and right now CPAs in general are really hard to come across that are accepting new clients. Anyways.
They're all busy, right? And they're all just
Well, it's not
very
just
happy.
that. There were a lot of retirement during COVID. And unfortunately, the younger generation that's coming through colleges and getting certified are not the amount of people that they normally would have. So there's a lot of EAs now, which is enrolled agents, that still take they have to do a lot to get certified. So they're really good at what they do. But CPAs are really hard that are taking new clients. So if you get a CPA that's taking a new client that you trust, you stick with them.
Yeah.
As far as my team, I have a very stringent hiring process. They actually have to take a test that I made. I take out of my 52 clients, I find the hardest things about all my clients, and then I put it on the test, and they have to score 80% or higher to even interview with me. And then I know that they're at a caliber that I want working on the books that are my clients, because I take care of my people so that they take care of my clients.
Yep. So hiring, but you probably don't have a lot of problems with once you have somebody in the door keeping them,
No,
because you take great care of your employees.
I do. I treat my business like a body. It was really the best advice I ever got many years ago when I started my first business, was to treat your business like a body, and everybody that works for you and that does things to facilitate your business are like the circulatory system and the internal organs, and you have to take care of that or the body just dies. So I've always followed that philosophy, and I do. I like to take. It makes me feel good to empower them and teach them, and to allow people to be more than just an employee.
So you treat your business like a body, and you are the Planet Fitness of bookkeepers. So I'm sensing a little bit. I'm sensing a little theme here, Cheryl.
It didn't even dawn on me.
Is it like that New Year's resolution kind of a theme here?
No. I've always been like that, but that's hilarious. I never thought about that.
That is so funny.
I don't typically have a problem with hiring.
Yeah.
Finding people to hire. For me, it's just going through that selection process of making sure they're the right fit.
You have a little bit of a remote work model as well, right?
I do. Everybody that works for me is remote. I do have an office as well, but most everybody that works for me is remote. All over the United States, they work for me. I have a couple people locally, but I do that because I do remote work for people, number one, and it keeps my work pool selection open with qualified people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure, absolutely. And there's no reason why, like, the person who's the lead on our account is Heather. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No, I don't mind at all. She's amazing.
She does a fabulous job. She does a great job. I had no idea until very, very recently that she's not like here. I kind of pictured Heather as like somewhere on Amherst
She's in
Street
Virginia.
Right, absolutely. Which is so great.
She's amazing. And matter of fact, she loves working on your account. And
she's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. I have a good team. I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And I know I am. I know I'm lucky.
Yeah. Same question for the both of you. Different answers, I'm sure. I want to know about, what does the future look like? If you're going to think really the future, 5 to 10 years down the road, about what VITA would look like and what Blue Granite Bookkeeping would look like. thinking and keeping in mind like the industry that you're in and the clients that you have and the employees and volunteers. What are you thinking 10 years down the road might look like? And if you don't mind, we'll start with you, Cheryl.
So for me, 10 years down the road, I'm going to be retired and hopefully have sold my firm.
Okay, good answer. I like this answer.
So that's number one, but let's go 5 years.
And you can volunteer with Rod. With
exactly.
Steve.
Unless I'm in some really warm climated country. But 5 years from now, I do see a lot of changes because AI is making a big change within the industry. And people I feel like people are already relying too much on it, though. I like to still get my hands on it.
So how would artificial intelligence play out in a bookkeeping
It's huge,
role?
actually. It's already, so there's a lot of companies out there like Bench and some other national companies. Even QuickBooks Online has their own processing, which they use AI for. And what happens is they just use like patterns to understand where things go, and they train it. I don't mind if they want to do the initial work, but I'll never finalize it until I look at it one by one.
It's interesting to hear you say that. We had a pretty big grant proposal that I put in a couple of months ago. And I wrote a good portion of the verbiage with my own words. And then I used artificial intelligence to augment it. And then I uploaded the whole thing back up to ChatGPT and said, write me a budget for this grant.
And it
As simple as that. I attached this PDF and said, write me a budget. And it was shocking to me what came out the other end, which was pretty close to, not exact, but pretty close to what I was looking for. I was shocked. It made my life, it saved me dozens of hours.
Yeah. So AI actually can do a lot of great things. I know people are afraid of AI, and I think if it's harnessed correctly, it'll wind up doing a lot of good things.
That's because we all watched, Arnold Schwarzenegger and what was the movie? The Terminator.
The Terminator.
Right?
Yeah. So AI actually has the ability to do a lot of great things, and people think it's going to take people's jobs away, but there's still going to be things that you still have to have your hands on it. You can't take everything verbatim that it says, but it's a great assist tool. So like one of the things that I do use it for in bookkeeping is like when I'm building an Excel spreadsheet and I can't exactly get the formula right that I'm looking for to build something out, I'll say, this is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Can you give me the formula for this? And it'll give me the formula and it works, It's things like that AI, I believe, is definitely a good use for. So 5 years from now, I do see things changing that way. We'll be growing, probably more CFO services. I'm finding more businesses are needing more guidance on where their money's going, not seeing what happened to it, but where it's going in the future, and seeing that more and more. So we'll have both things under control at that point.
I think on a macro level, you're right that AI probably will eliminate or change people's jobs. On a micro level, just at our own individual organizational level, we're a staff of 4. I see AI allowing us to do the work of a staff of 6.
Exactly.
It's not taking anybody's job away. It's allowing us to do more with the limited time. Time is, at the end of the day, the only thing you really have, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Good. Interesting. So big changes coming to your industry in that regard.
I think so. I try and follow it all nonstop. I'm always on different educational forums and take a lot of courses. And because I always want to stay in the know.
Very good. So, Steve, how about yourself?
5 years?
5 to 10 years. What are you seeing in terms of, obviously the IRS is a little unpredictable always. It changes from year to year. But the big trends in the work that you do, how do you see that evolving?
Well, as far as my involvement goes, I see myself in Hawaii in 5 years, retired for good.
I'm seeing a trend here as well. Yes.
So those 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't see much of a change when it comes. I mean, taxes are taxes, and they're going to always be there. There are changes. Some things like advocating for changes that say tip income isn't taxed, things like that. You'll always see those kinds of changes. But taxes are going to be taxes. They won't differ much now from what they. If you look back 20 years, you would see the same thing, except you have automation now. We have online tax applications, things like that. AI, I don't know if there's a role in it for AI, because the key component of preparing taxes is sitting with the taxpayer and soliciting the information from them they need to get the maximum refund. And AI can't do that for them. It won't be able to do it. There's nothing, there's nothing that AI would offer in that regard.
Right.
Now, if you want to do your taxes yourself and you have a question, I use ChatGPT. And I go on sometimes and it gives me an answer and I take it, I apply it, and then sometimes I say, Chat, you're wrong.
That doesn't sound good, right? I know. Yeah.
That was the wrong answer, Chat. That's not what you should have given me.
But I think that's a really interesting point. You only can do that because you have some knowledge base that you're working from.
That's right. And that's actually surprisingly, I queried it once for something that I knew the answer to, but I wasn't 100% positive. And it came back with the answer, and it noted on the bottom, this answer may be incorrect. You should consult a tax professional for it.
I love it.
Yeah,
There you go.
I've seen
And I
that.
said, now that's not bad, but for someone doing their return or trying to do it, that doesn't help them because now you have to go to a paid preparer anyway, or you come to us and
Right.
it's a free service with us. And those, so I don't really see a big role for that. But I see changes. I see a lot of changes in what's going to be taxable, what's not. And of course, every year things increase, Standard deductions go up, et cetera, but so does, income and things like that. So be interesting. I hope to be around long enough to see it.
Well, I hope so as well. Absolutely. Who is your ideal client? Who's the ideal person to come walking through the door?
I don't think there is an ideal person. I think they're all ideal. I mean, they all have a need. They need to have their returns done. They have no idea. The people that come to us have little to no idea of what has to be involved. So there's always that, that surprise element at the end. You have a refund. Yay. You owe money. Boo. You get both reactions. But the ideal clients are the people from the community. That's why our people volunteer. They make it very clear, I want to give back to the community. And, so anybody who comes in fits that description of the ideal client.
You still looking for clients this year? You still accepting new spots in the schedule?
Individuals?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, every year. Every year we get
So
new
there's still
people.
room. It's not like you guys are, totally booked out, no more spots.
Well, we're booked out, but we're expanding the appointments because for some reason we have a larger number of people that are coming to us than we've had in previous years. I mean, last year we did total for the two sites that we're concerned with, Hudson and Nashville. I think we had almost 1,000 returns, as you said. I think we were a little over that number, and it's it's a lot. And now we're getting more people, which means we'll have more returns.
Just shows the need.
Yeah,
the need for a program like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. We've surprisingly we don't get we thought we would get a lot of individuals who weren't really proficient in the English language, because they find it hard. But they come in and we manage to communicate with them. It's a wonderful thing to have an iPhone that that has a translator on it, and then you just sort of tell it and show it to the
Google
person.
Translate.
Yes.
It's your friend.
Yeah, and the individuals do the same thing. They use theirs to get back. So we've managed to sort of break.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, because we don't have a lot of interpreters, even though the IRS offers them to us. You can never find one.
That's hard. Yeah. And we are the most diverse community in the state,
Very true.
So I'm sure it's a challenge. Cheryl, how about yourself? Who's the ideal client? Walking through the door, the client walks through and you're like, oh, you're the one. You're my dream client.
So the client that walks in going, and I could tell they haven't been sleeping. No, a business owner that just really needs to take control of their finances. A lot of times I get a lot of business owners that try to do it themselves and are like, I don't think I did it right. I really need your help.
Yeah.
Or like I talked about before, the one that was just afraid of being judged and thought if I just put it to the side, I don't have to think about it. That's great. Put it to the side on me. Let me think about it and get you out of that headspace and move forward.
What about for CFO services?
Yes.
Because that's a relatively new sort of service that you're offering.
Yeah, I got certified 4 months ago. So the clients for CFO are typically the business owner that knows what their books are doing or maybe doesn't, but need somebody to get them straight, and then explain from the past to the future, like, where is your money going? Are you making a profit? I hear a lot of people say, well, it says I made this much money, but I don't have any money in the bank. Well, that's your cash flow.
That's
that
your
means
cash,
you have a low
that's your
cash
inventory,
flow.
all of that.
Yeah, so like explaining people's books to them, understanding where their money goes, seeing if they have a healthy business, because if you don't have a healthy business that has a good cash flow, profit, and revenue, then it's not going to survive.
Interesting.
Are you seeing a lot of clients or individuals right now in our current environment who are have specific concerns related to, we never talk about politics on this show, but we live in a sort of a turbulent
We do.
time, right? So how are you seeing that coming through with either your business clients or individuals coming to you?
I see it on both ends. Even though I don't do people's personal, they'll talk to me about their personal, and they
Okay.
get concerned because there's ever changing, and this environment right now is a little turbulent, as you
Sure.
said. And I always just tell people, just remember, you can't control what you can't control, and we can
Good
do
advice.
with you.
I was just going to say the same thing. Good
We
advice.
can do with you what we can do to help you, what you can control, and then see your tax professional with the rest of it. But that's my major advice I give to everybody. You can't control what you can't control. Losing sleep over it does nothing but give fuel to the anxiety.
Cheryl, Blue Granite Bookkeeping, how do people get a hold of you?
They can either email me at Cheryl@BGBKS or Blue Granite Bookkeeping, but a lot of people can't spell bookkeeping, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of K's there, right?
Or I actually have a mass number because it's a voice over internet phone, but it's 978-212-9798. And then our website is bluegranitebookkeeping.com or bgbks.com.
Fantastic. And Steve, same
Thank
question
you.
for you. How do people get a hold of you guys to either become a volunteer or learn more or become a client?
They could contact us through email. We're vita-hudson@comcast.net. They can call me.
Okay.
I have a cell phone that's dedicated to VITA. It's 603-204-3202.
Guys, we're out of time. And this just flew right by. But I want to thank you both for joining us today. And I wish you well in this busy season. Cheryl, it's been really great
Thank
talking to
you.
you. Steve, fantastic job. And thank you for what you do as well.
Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to another episode of Living United with Nashua Business. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another great show.